Now to the escalating battle over a Maryland father who was mistakenly deported to one of El Salvador's most notorious prisons. The Trump administration is now asking the Supreme Court to block a federal judge's order to bring him back to the U.S. by midnight tonight. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a legal resident since 2011, was put on a plane with more than 200 alleged gang members last month. The administration calls the mistake an administrative error, but officials insist he is a member of MS-13, a claim his attorneys deny. A federal judge also said the government offered no evidence to back up the allegation. With time running out, the White House says it can't be forced to negotiate his return, while his family and the courts say his rights were violated. And for more, we want to bring in Nathan Gonzales, editor and publisher of Inside Elections and a Faith Nation contributor. Nathan, great to see you this Monday. So I want to ask you about the Trump tariffs, but let's start with this case out of Maryland. It's one of many making its way through the courts. President Trump's opponents say that his executive actions and responses to court orders are putting the country on a collision course toward a constitutional crisis. Nathan, what exactly does that mean, and do you see it that way?
Well, I think it's unquestioned that the Trump administration in the second term has been very aggressive, and they have chosen that they are going to use all levers of power or all things that they can do to get done what they want to get done. And if that means ignoring court orders or just kind of continuing on until literally physically being stopped, then that appears what they're going to do. And I think that it is a challenge for, particularly for those, let's take Republicans, for example, that there are some Republicans who are starting to see that even though they like President Trump, they believe in what he's doing at a core level, that they realize that sometime in the future, Democrats are going to be in charge, or there will be a Democratic president at some point. And are they willing to live sort of in this governmental structure where the president has so much power? Are they willing to abide by this or follow this if a Democrat is president? And so it's going to be tough. But right now, I think the Trump administration is willing to admit that, yeah, there might be some mistakes, but it's for a greater good from a policy perspective.
Now, let's talk about the tariffs, Nathan. To fear or not to fear, trillions of dollars have been erased from American stock portfolios, 401ks. Trump says the United States has been getting ripped off for way too long, and then this is an opportunity to fix that. Nathan, does this tariff plan risk cutting short the honeymoon season for the second administration? How do you see this going?
Well, it's a little bit of whiplash from Trump's campaign promises, basically, right? He said, on day one, your lives are going to be better. The cost of living is going to be down. All of your concerns are going to be going away. And that's different than the message that the administration is trying to sell now, which is actually there's going to be short-term pain, but it's for greater gains down the line. And we're going to see what that appetite is like among the American people. I think among most Republicans are willing to trust the president, but independent voters are looking at, say, hey, I thought things were going to get better when you became president, and things right now are not better. And of course, Democrats are going to oppose the president. So what the administration is feeling is that in concept, people say, yeah, we shouldn't be getting ripped off by other countries. Fair trade should be fair, but then you realize that, oh, well, all these things that I buy and I enjoy, all the prices are going to be, a lot higher. Then I think people think about that differently.
Yeah, especially with China. So much of our stuff comes from there. We'll see what happens with the president and the situation with China. This weekend, Nathan, there were the hands-off protests in more than 1,300 communities across the country. They were, protesting the tariffs, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the cutting of federal bureaucracy. What did you make of the hands-off protest?
It's not surprising. I mean, Democrats didn't want Trump to be president again, and they are showing that disapproval. I think on the Republican side, Republicans are very dismissive of any of these, right? Any of these protests or some of the protests we see at town hall meetings or anything. They say, well, these are just paid protesters. And I haven't asked every protester whether they're getting paid or not, but I think Republicans might be missing a key some feedback that maybe the things that the Republicans and President Trump are doing right now, that people aren't very happy. And if Republicans just dismiss it and say paid actors, paid protesters, then there might be a wake-up call down the line and say, oh, actually the American people don't like what's going on, and they miss an opportunity to course correct and make some adjustments on what they're doing.
Okay, Nathan Gonzales with Inside Elections. We are out of time this Monday. Thank you so much, Nathan. Have a great week.
Good to see you, Jenna.